The most pressing issues affecting political trust in Europe are twofold. First, doubts about the accountability and transparency of public institutions, and second, the growing perceptions among citizens that they are unable to influence decision-making processes and that institutions are not accountable and responsible to their needs. In this context, it may be posited that political trust functions as an essential attitude that translates directly in political behavior, both in elections and beyond. Given that the European political systems operate as party democracies, whereby political parties seem to be the central means of political representation, and thus being a key precondition for the stability of the democratic system and trust in democracy in general, our research primarily centered on political parties and policy programs on which political parties based their electoral appeals. In light of the growing polarization of European party politics and the concomitant concerns voiced about its potential impact on the stability of European democracies, the ambition of our working package was to explore the dynamic relationship between emerging political cleavages, party system polarization, and political trust. In particular, the research focused on how ideological party polarization affects trust in political institutions, such as the government, parliament, or political parties, or how ideological party polarization and trust in political institutions are correlated. One of the main challenges in studying the dynamic relationships between ideological polarization of political parties and political trust was the question of the direction of causality in this relationship. Even though the research didn't test the mechanisms that explain how political trust affects party system polarization, it must be acknowledged that the actual causal relationships between ideological party polarization and trust in political institutions may be bidirectional, thus creating an imaginary spiral of party system polarization. Indeed, higher ideological party polarization may result in declining trust in political institutions, thus encouraging voters to cast a vote for challenger, outsider, or anti-establishment reform political parties. And this, in turn, increase party system polarization as both challenger outsider political parties and established political parties are incentivized to diverge farther from the political center. In this sense, we could think of a kind of a spiral of distrust, where political distrust and protest voting are reinforcing each other. On the one hand, low and declining levels of political trust increase the likelihood of protest voting, while at the same time, challenger, outsider, or anti-establishment reform political parties fuel distrust in political institutions across the population even further. I'm convinced that our research results provide valuable insights into the potential impact of ideological party polarization on trust in political institutions. A salient finding of our research may be that the rise of political polarization is indicative of the emergence of new and realigned political cleavages, with average polarization of the European party systems increasing slightly over time, with the quality of political system, welfare and quality of life, and societal identity appearing to be the drivers of this upward trend. However, the initial expectation that greater overall party system polarization reduces political trust is not supported at the macro level. Instead, effects depends on the issue domain. These findings have yielded several partial recommendations for specific domains. In particular, policies should prioritize compliance with rules, procedural restraint, common standards of transparency, and substantive programmatic competition without stigmatization, along with the protection of channels for responsible competition. At the same time, Policy should give preference to responses focused on specific domains over general efforts at depolarization.